Welcome back to the podcast. I'm coming to you from my brother's house in Calgary, Alberta. I've been in Canada now for a little over 2 weeks, and sure, there's a little bit of adjustment here and there, and there's lots of things on my list to get done, but it definitely feels like a move that was completely in alignment. We made the right decision. And landing in Vancouver at 6 a.m. after a red-eye flight on the 28th of June, I just felt my whole nervous system just reset and regulate in a way. Yeah, I mean, of course, I've come to visit before, but you just approach things differently when you know it's a visit versus this is going to be home for the next little bit. And yeah, it feels really good. I'm more than happy to go into the nitty gritty with anyone that's curious. You can DM me on Instagram or send me a message on LinkedIn. A lot of people have been asking why, because, I think there's a lot of Canadians and Americans that are moving to Mexico, and it just seems like a desirable move that way, and doesn't quite make sense maybe the other way. But I think just reach out to me if you want more information on that, but it was the right move for our family at this stage. So next chapter. Today I wanted to do a very short episode on reframing fear. One of the things I find when I work with female founders is a lot of our work is about giving ourselves permission, or in the case of the client, like helping her give herself permission to feel okay about not doing something, or about the way she wants or prefers to do something. So I think it's really important that it's like a survival mechanism, of course, that we're tapping into here, where the body kicks us into this sensation, this emotion, this feeling. It's, a hormonal reaction. And it's quite honestly one of the most basic default hormonal reactions when something isn't going the way we think, or it's obviously comes from a very evolutionary background and trying to defend us from nature, essentially, or things that are going to threaten our lives. But in modern day times, we're not dealing with those sorts of threats. We don't need to run away from animals that think we're prey. We don't need to, generally speaking, worry about famine or any of the things, or, an impinging storm like taking out. So I think it's very important to understand this origin of our body systems, trying to understand modern times. And in modern times, it starts to come up because, it's FOMO, basically, a lot. Fear of missing out, sure, in a social situation, but I think what I'm talking about here is your fear if you're not doing it correctly, what sort of health benefits are you missing out on, or just almost like I'm not going to say Joneses, but like keeping up with Jane kind of thing that we as women were unfortunately socialized from a very young age to notice more what everyone else is doing and align with it, that good girl brainwashing that starts very young. And so that translates into how we view our health and wellness routines as well. We want to feel like we're doing them right. We want to feel like we're doing as much as we can. We want to feel like we're doing the most current or, trendy, maybe not, but yes, also we fall into those traps, right? We just want to feel like we're doing what we should do, and we're doing it because we want to be as fit as possible. But let's face it, we want to look our best. We want to look and we want to feel our best. So, oh my gosh, what if I'm missing out on a supplement that could, take away the 4 o'clock slump that I'm dealing with? Or, oh my gosh, what if I just did a workout routine slightly different? I might have more definition in my curves or in my abs or in my arms or in my thighs, or, pick your personal area that you probably feel, quote unquote, needs work. I'm telling you, the more that we can get to a feeling in our body of deep love and acceptance for what is, at whatever stage. I wish someone had told me when I was younger, your body is designed to change. It's going to go through some massive changes, and it's best to maybe not hold on to this deep sense of, there's one body I'm always trying to get back to. You get to a body type and you're like, this is my ideal body type. And then for years, if not decades, go by and you're trying to get back to this ideal body type when in fact your body has changed. And the more that we can embrace these changes in the positive aspects, what's different, how's it different, how do I feel different, there's got to be something positive you can hold on to. Of course, I'm talking about, if you've got yourself to a state where you really need, higher level support and help getting to a healthy place again, because your body is somewhat out of control, your metabolic's out of control. That's kind of a different story. I'm talking more to the woman who, it applies across the board. We just need to love and accept our bodies in the phases they are. Another thing I wish I had learned so much earlier is how our body, including our brain, changes during a monthly cycle. That was not in my sex education. And I very recently understood the depths of which our body and our brain change throughout our cycles of life and even the cycles of the month. And those of us who live in places that have very stark or clear seasons, you feel differently during different seasons. And there's different things that you want to implement or stick to more in a certain season because that makes you feel better. And in one season or one part of your cycle, that has to be rest. There has to be rest in your plan. And rest does not include, journaling and listening to an inspiring podcast and listening to an audiobook and cleaning the house and going to a spa. Those are all amazing things. Okay, going to a spa maybe could be into the rest. But even if it's minutes, pick your minutes, or you're doing absolutely nothing, that is an ability. We're actually losing the ability to do absolutely nothing. And it is so nourishing to your system to just, be bored. That's where creativity ebbs and flows, actually, is when you're staring. I always like to say, just go sit and stare at a tree. It's so nourishing. But yes, back to this point about reframing fear. So the more that you can get crystal clear of what fear actually feels like in your body, all 5 senses, I would even say 6 senses, we all have this sort of sixth sense of what's good for us, a situation, a person, an idea, the next move. What does that feel like? What starts to tense up? For me, it's kind of in the shoulders, more than the neck. I can sort of sense a tightening in the chest. Maybe in certain situations, it's a gut sensation more than anything. Do you feel weak? Do you feel strong? Do you sense the adrenaline coming in? What does fear feel like to you? And then next time you're really excited about something, something went really your way, or you're really excited for a family member, a close loved one, your child maybe, or somebody gets something that they really deserve. that feeling of just blissful excitement. What does that feel like in your body? Go through the 5 senses. Is there a smell that comes up, or what's the texture or taste in your mouth? Is there a body? Like, what does it feel like physically? What does it do to your breath? All these things. Get crystal clear on what it feels like to feel fearful versus what it feels like to feel excited. And then next time you're basically ruminating or worrying about, are you doing something the right way, or what's going to happen because you're not as prepared as you thought or you should be, or whatever, you feel like you don't know something, and there's going to be fear around that. See if you can shift the narrative just slightly enough that you can shift the body experience and the hormones into feeling excitement for the unknown. This, in my opinion, is one of the superpowers coming forward in the next decades, because we're all going to be dealing with the unknown more and more at an accelerated pace. Let's just take the example of AI. We're all kind of excited, kind of fearful, but mostly it's just this giant unknown. And the more that you can just be excited for this potential and what the future is going to look like either way, we're going to be there, right? And the more that we can feel generally at ease and powerful in our body, the better off we are going to be, and be well equipped to handle mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever comes our way. And this is also the dynamic and almost a cycle, I would say, of entrepreneurship. So as female founders, we're constantly dealing with unknowns. We're constantly taking these, massive leaps, and in a way that, a large part of the population is not really willing to participate in that sort of sphere. So we're already more well equipped, I would argue, for being very comfortable with the unknown. So be a curious scientist about your own emotional experience with fear and excitement, and draw your own conclusions on how you personally, maybe there's something you can sort of signal to yourself, or a symbol to shift just ever so slightly out of that FOMO, out of that fear, out of that self-doubt, like, am I doing this wrong? What am I missing out on if I don't do it this way? Or if I don't do that wellness practice, if I don't take, another 15 different kinds of supplements, if I don't switch to this amazing new brand that someone told me is the brand, what if I just do it my way and feel super calm and at ease in my personal selections, and just remove that layer of fear, and instead get really excited about the potential of what's coming at you? Because we can always get excited. There's always a silver lining. Like, what can we be excited about? For me, it's almost, maybe it's the fact that I'm like a lifelong traveler, that I always like switching it up. I like switching up my home. I like switching up the arrangement of furniture in a given room. I like switching up all sorts of things. I like trying new food. I like going to cities I've never been to before. I like walking around and discovering things. And so can you kind of like find that part of you? And I know as an entrepreneur, it's probably not going to be that difficult, because again, we've generally speaking chosen a path that is less predictable. But in that being less predictable, it's so much more exciting. So get excited for all the things that are going to be happening to you in the next year, whatever time frame you like to kind of dabble in terms of being inspired. Like, maybe you're all about the 5-year or the 10-year plan, maybe you do everything in quarters. pick your time frame and just take some time, like a minute or two every day, and just take a deep breath and just feel that like bubbling up of excitement for not knowing exactly what's going to happen, and knowing that the probability of it being better than you can predict, or, basically most likely about what you're predicting, and the likelihood it is not going to be that great is very low. And ultimately, I would argue, if we're going back to, what health and wellness practices are we choosing, and feeling really centered and okay with only doing the ones that align with us and not doing everything, certainly not doing everything at once, just kind of picking one thing that feels really aligned. For summer, for example, we all tend to switch our routines in summer. You have to give yourself permission to be in summer mode in some shape or form. Like, what is that? And embrace it and feel excited about what it's going to teach you and how you're going to feel. And, if you're not feeling better with this new choice or this experiment to try something new for a couple of weeks, or to shift into summer mode, which means, dropping said practice. And at the very least, it's going to give you crystal clear clarity that, no, it's actually not a restful practice. I'll use myself an example. For the last couple of weeks being here in Canada, there's an abundance of fresh baked goods everywhere. And in a way that I'm not used to, or wasn't as accessible. I had to, try harder to get these things in Mexico. And for the first couple of weeks, I'm like, I'm just going to embrace like everything that is stereotypical Canadian life and also things that remind me of my childhood, and just like be in this nostalgic mode. So it was like eating a lot of bagels with peanut butter on it. And, we had some donuts at Tim Hortons, and, we were at the Stampede, which is all about other doughy things like soft pretzels. And it's like, And it felt good to be in this sort of relaxed, nostalgic mode and just embrace everything it meant to come home. And now I'm crystal clear that, and reminded, like newly reminded, I already knew this, but it's always good to remind your body on a physical level. Don't want to live that way. It's not energizing. Probably gained a little weight. I don't feel, better about myself in that sense, but really it just like digestion slowed. I felt sluggish, just didn't have the same pep and pop. I can see also in my face like a little bit of inflammation with eating so much gluten. This is just a small example, right? So I'm going back to my smoothie bowls and feeling really excited about smoothie bowls again. Whereas, if I do smoothie bowls 365 days of the year, I'm going to get bored AF, and it's not going to feel as much, it's not going to feel like this choice, this conscious choice. I'm not going to feel excited about it. So I, reframe the fear of like, ooh, I can't eat that because I'm going to gain weight, let's say. And brought it into, no, I'm excited to eat smoothie bowls again. And I know that I'm a very healthy individual, and I can, shift back into a different mindset pretty quickly. And then I know I'm going to feel stronger and healthier pretty quick here, having my day start with fruits and vegetables and superfoods and healthy fats. And so I hope that was helpful. If there's any one specific thing that you're really feeling FOMO, or you need support in giving yourself permission to let go of, I can go down several rabbit holes. I did this also with my whole yoga journey over 15 years of practicing yoga. By the way, that is one thing that has been key. As I landed here in Canada, I was doing serious, like 15 minutes of advanced yoga, stretching and poses every day, sometimes morning and night. That was just like what was helping me feel grounded and like literally like I was stretching, you know, like accommodating, like getting my body into its new environment to some shape or form, and, you know, processing. So enough about me. Again, if you want support with a specific thing you need reframing, I'm always here. Send me a direct message or email me. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you're going to have a summer where you give yourself lots of grace, where you rest, you take mini vacations. Like, even if you're not going on this big extended vacation, take a 4-hour vacation where you just unplug, and you're maybe not going to stare at a tree for 4 hours, but just do whatever you want, answer to no one for 4 hours. I double dare you. Thanks again for listening. I appreciate you being here. Wishing you a beautiful week.